Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto. Hope you're all doing great. Hope you're having a great weekend, and welcome to this new video right here. On XRP, we're going to do a full update right here on the technicals. There are some interesting things that I did not speak about yesterday, but that I did want to speak about today, and also some things that have changed. And things that have changed that I think most of you will not have realized, but that actually had a profound impact back in November and December. And back then, that actually, it makes more sense when we actually look at that. But back then, that was one of the best opportunities to make money on XRP that we had seen in basically the entirety of 2024. Not only on XRP, but also on some others. But we'll talk about that. First of all, just so you know, next week we have some important data. We have a lot of board members of the Federal Reserve speaking. So that matters, of course. Monetary policy is very important here in 2025, 2026, and for the financial markets. So that's going to be interesting, but that is something I will keep you updated on in my Bitcoin videos and in my market update videos. And then outside of that, we have inflation rate data and CPI data on Tuesday. So that is something that will influence XRP as well. The correlation between XRP and Bitcoin has decreased a little bit. It's quite low. It's lowest I've seen it in months, but historically it's quite high, right? So you can see over the last 3 days, it's lower than 50%, which is quite low. But what I said, it's still there. So that is something to be aware of. Yesterday, what I said is that we are at the major resistance level right here at $3. What I said is that, with all those imbalances to the downside, do I think that XRP is bullish right here? Yes, I do think so, and I still do think so. But I said I think it's more likely that we're going to pull back into 2.6. And potentially also into this level at 2.45, consolidate a little bit there before we have a chance to rally back into 2.9, 2.85 and potentially break out, right? Because that is ultimately, that would be the absolute main catalyst for XRP in 2025, a breakout above $3, all right? Because we've done that before, but then it was a little bit of a fake out and there were some major bearish divergences, which you can also see on the chart right here. The leverage was also higher, the volume was lower and the RSI was lower, aka a fake out. But if we're able to break out above that again, and now also that fundamentals have changed, because back then an XRP ETF was blasphemous, and right now an XRP ETF is very likely. So if we do that, that would be absolutely great. But like I said, what I thought was most likely is getting a pullback first, at least into 2.6. And I want to stress that I still do think that is most likely. XRP is now forming some sort of a consolidation type price action between 2.9 and 2.7, which is fine. But I think it's most likely that short-term consolidation is going to lead to a pullback and then a good reaction at strong support. So I do think that, we're going to find support. I do think that the structure on the higher time frames remains bullish. But I mean, XRP can drop down all the way to 2.35, can spike down all the way there, and technically we could still argue that it is an uptrend, at least on the lower time frames. So that is still what I do think. However, the thing that has changed, and the thing that also made me change my perspective on XRP, is the fact that a certain narrative is doing very, very well. And that certain narrative is these, I normally refer to them as dino coins or veteran coins. So coins like Cardano, Hedera, Stellar as well, Algorand have been very, very bullish over the course of this this last night and this weekend, which XRP is also part of that entire narrative, right? I mean, some people also refer to it as the ISO narrative because of the same ISO standard that they have. But that makes it interesting, at least for me, to briefly talk about the possibility of a bullish breakout. Like I said, I don't think that's most likely, but I think sometimes you should be expecting the unexpected. And I think a lot of people are expecting XRP to pull back right now, including myself, for good reasons, right? But I think it's worth it to have some ideas for a potential breakout long idea in your head as well, right? So then I'm mainly looking at this level right here at 2.9. If we're able to get a breakout above that with volume, I still think it's worth taking that opportunity to long XRP. Because of that narrative rallying as well, outside of the strength that we have already seen for XRP, I think that's it's at least a realistic possibility, and you should be ready for it. But like I said, I think it's most likely we're going to pull back. And some of you might now comment, oh, you're saying we can go up or down. And yes, that is true. right? XRP can go up or down. That in my opinion, look, these videos are very much based on what do I think is most likely, and you know, what is the prediction. That's also why I'm telling you I think it's most likely, my prediction is that we're going to pull back into 2.55, 2.45. But if you are trading and if you are investing like I am, you need to be ready for more scenarios, all right? And it's the truth that XRP can go up or down, so be ready, all right? But those are my thoughts. I think that's what you need to know for now. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all in my next videos, and bye.